What up, party people in the house? It's Dynasty WarGames. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman. I am here with co-host Major Mike Casper. How you doing tonight, Mike?
What's up, Jesse?
That's it? Just what's up, Jesse?
What's up, dude?
Don't
Tired.
make me bring up Damian Harris.
Oh, gosh. I don't have the energy to not talk about Damian Harris.
Main man, Chad Mendoza. How you doing tonight, Chad?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I don't know how I'm going to follow that mic intro.
Yeah. Mr. Energy. What are you drinking tonight, Mike? Any unicorn poop?
Ice water.
Ice water. Cool. Right on. I got a plate
Nice.
of water.
I run hot. That's what they say.
Nice. That's what
Nice.
your wife says. That's why you got 14 kids.
Poor. I already did the deed. It's been a year since the vasectomy.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Snip, snap,
happy-
snip, snap.
Yeah. Happy vasectoversary.
Yeah.
Well, it's in July, but I mean it's close enough, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
mean,
Every day is a celebration.
do you know the toll that 3 vasectomies has on a man?
Great episode.
Classic line.
Yeah. Right on. What are you drinking, Chad?
Unsweet tea.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah.
Monday night, we're all keeping it sober.
Yep. When in Rome, right? You know, I'm in Texas, so wife brings home unsweet tea sometimes.
Right on. Well, hopefully that'll bring us some sober rankings of some rookies, right? So we're going to go by position. We're going to give our top. I have 10 wide receivers. Let's see. 1, 2. I have like 18 running backs, 5 quarterbacks, and 10 or so tight ends. So we'll just go through our rankings. I don't know how many you guys got, but we'll go through and just try to contrast. And then we may or may not have a timer set. So when that timer goes off, I think it's game time.
Yeah, I forgot, but it is set now. So.
Okay, nice.
Good reminder.
That's why I said may or may not.
Yeah.
Things don't always go as planned around here on the WarGames. Right? So anybody out there looking on YouTube, look at that, baby. Fresh ink.
I just can't believe you got the poop emoji tattooed on your forearm.
For those listening on
That's
podcast,
for the podcast, yeah. There we go.
Yeah, that is the Eagle symbol with Super Bowl LII. Thank you.
One of the eyes being a Lombardi.
Yes. Well, no, it is the Lombardi. It's L, the Lombardi, and then 2 eyes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All right. So, what position should we start with? I mean, do we want to make it boring?
Quarterback. Yeah, I mean,
Quarterback,
start.
yeah.
Let's just start with quarterback.
Quarterback.
Super flex. That's all we do now. 2
All right.
quarterbacks sometimes.
All right. Let's
Let's go with the QBs.
Let's start out with the fireworks. Let's go with Mike first.
Oh no!
Who you got as
With
your?
me. Everyone's gonna call me garbage. This is gonna be fun.
No, that's all right. How many do you have ranked, Mike?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. After 5, it really doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, that's all I wrote down. Too. It's 5.
So, do we all have Hendon Hooker as our 5th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do we all have Will Levis as our 4th?
No.
No. Okay. Mike, do you?
Yes, I do have him as my 4th. Well, actually, wait. Yes, I do.
Okay. And Chad, who do you
Well,
have?
I have 2 players basically together, like
So you have AR. You have AR and Levis together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do as well.
All right, cool. I have AR considerably higher because of
Nice.
the skill. All right. So, I mean, do we want to talk about Levis a little bit, or do we want to talk about Hooker a little bit before we even move on to Levis? I mean,
yeah, we can talk about Hooker. I think the main knock against Hooker is that Tennessee was just such a weird situation. Obviously, what he did at Tennessee was pretty incredible, and the stats speak for themselves. But everything was just so heavily schemed.
yeah,
It's so hard, to look at what he did and see any translation
Yeah.
to an NFL offense at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of the epitome of an air raid offense. So really not a lot of, and same. We'll get to,
and not saying that he won't be a good player. Like, I mean, I think he's definitely has a shot to be a good NFL quarterback. It's just one of those things where, I don't know. There's so many questions with what he was doing in college and how that can translate or what it even looks like with his skill set. So
the question is, can he actually make reads in the NFL? Can he actually go, all right, not open, 2, not open, 3, not open, 4, run? Can he actually do that in enough time before he gets sacked, or is it just first guy's not open and run?
Yeah,
which you see a lot of. I mean, obviously guys can develop, but part of the problem is he's 25 and tore his ACL in the middle of the year. So at best, he's probably looking at an October return. So if he needs some development on top of coming back from injury and the age, odds are stacked against him a little.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really, and I don't know how you feel about this, Mike, but I'm not really worried about the injury or the age as much with the quarterback position. We have these guys for so long in Dynasty, and when I say we, I mean, like, if you draft him, by the time let's say he does succeed and is a good quarterback, right? By the time he reaches 30 years old, when he's still playing in the prime of his years in the NFL, he's probably not going to be on your roster anymore. So I mean, it's not like a running back coming into the NFL at 25 and you're like, oh shit, I have 2 years with this guy before his value falls off of a cliff. If he's good, it doesn't matter that he's 25. If he sucks, it still doesn't matter that he's 25. So
I got a question for you, because I think this is where I think it matters to me too, is like, what do NFL teams think of him, right? And so I think of, where do they take him in the draft? Okay, how much capital do they actually put into them? I'm looking at the player profiler mock draft that takes all the boards and stuff and sees where they're at, and it's got him as pick 44 projected. Do you guys think he's? Because I think if he's in the second round, he's definitely end of the second, possibly Dynasty.
I think his range is first round.
Really?
To the second round. Yeah, like he could definitely go in the first round. Yeah, in the NFL draft.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, even Daniel Jeremiah's mock, don't quote me, but I think he has him going pick 22 or 23. I don't remember quite who it was to, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely not out of the question. The NFL, it seems like the NFL really likes him. From what all of the NFL insider mock drafters are putting out there, he's steadily moving up boards. He's one of those guys. So yeah, I mean,
interesting.
It'll be definitely a wait and see where he goes, but that's part of it at this point.
Okay.
All right, so Levis, lots of traits. Knocks on him are decision making, consistency. Makes a lot of bad throws and makes a lot of bad decisions. Has all the tools, strong arm, can run. Chad, you were saying before the draft he's actually a better athlete than Josh Allen.
Well, so I'm not saying he's a better athlete than Josh Allen. I'm saying he's right now, if you're comparing in a vacuum Josh Allen as a prospect or what people thought about Josh Allen as a prospect and what people think of Will Levis as a prospect, as athletes, they're very similar, if not Levis being a little bit better of an athlete, and how we think of them, right? Like, you look at Josh Allen now and what he's been able to do in the NFL and how he's been able to just dominate physically. Like, yeah, it's tough to compare anybody to that coming into the NFL, any prospect, right? Unless they're, elite testing like Richardson. But Levis's athletic profile is very, very similar to Josh Allen's athletic profile coming out. Nobody thought Josh Allen was going to be this dominating rushing quarterback. That's very much revisionist history going on here, where everybody just looks back and says this guy can't be a Josh Allen style runner. His body type is very similar. His the way he's running in college and this past season he didn't do a lot of that. Some of it was because of the injuries. Some of it was because of the scheme, because they changed offensive coordinators and it was just terrible, everything that was going on there. But you go back to his season before, and I mean, he rushed for 9 touchdowns. Levis was hurdling over defenders, and I mean, he was a real rushing quarterback in the style of Josh Allen. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. We're gonna have to wait and see what kind of offense he gets into, and if they allow him to do those kind of things. But he's more than capable.
Right on. All right, so I mean, it's definitely going to take some good coaching, and I think landing spot for him is huge. You were saying this for AR earlier, but I think for him, landing spot is huge.
Yeah, I think it's big for both of them.
Yeah. He needs to have the right coach. So when I say landing spot, I'm not so much. Of course you want good weapons and a good offensive line to protect him. That's also key. But what first of all is the right coaching to develop a guy.
Yeah, to me, there's only one quarterback in this class that I'm not really worried about landing spot as much, and that's Bryce Young. He's the only one.
I'm not worried about landing spot for Stroud either.
Oh, I am. He's probably one of the guys I'm most worried about landing spot for me. But he looks like he's going to go either pick 1 or pick 2. So if that's the case, then there's no reason to worry, because either one of those spots are fine. But
all these guys are going to go top 10. So what are the bad landing spots in the top 10?
Well, I mean, you always have somebody,
Raiders.
able to trade up. Like, let's say the Bucks trade up for somebody. I'm not in love with that landing spot for any of these guys, really.
Like you said, Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the Raiders either. Coaching staff, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the players surrounding them are okay with the Raiders. Maybe the offensive line is not amazing, but yeah, I mean, they're picking where they are for a reason. All these teams.
Hmm.
But yeah, CJ Stroud. We're skipping around here a little bit, but
yeah, we are quite a bit. Well, I'm sorry. My point was that I think the top 4 guys are going to go in the top 10, and I'm starting to think Stroud, Bryce, and AR all go in the top 4, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's still talk of the Colts and Levis still with a lot of these NFL circles. So
that's crazy.
I mean, why is it crazy?
It's crazy that they don't. It's crazy that they traded up and they don't know which one that they want, or at least they're not telling anyone. But I don't think that they've made the decision. And it's going to come down to.
I'm talking about the Colts.
Oh, the Colts. I'm sorry, the Panthers.
Yeah.
Oh, the Colts. Yeah, the Colts are.
No, there's been no talk of Levis at 1.
Yeah,
I think that's purely between Bryce.
Yeah, I could see Levis going at 4. Absolutely,
yeah.
I could still see these guys going all 4, 1 through 4. All right, so you guys both have AR and Levis 3, 4 in their own tier, right?
Yes.
All right, and then Mike, who do you have 2? Like, how do you have Stroud and Bryce ranked?
I have it Young then Stroud.
Okay, is it close for you?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know. I was having this conversation with Chad before, the podcast started, right? And everyone's talking about how Bryce Young just has to be an outlier, essentially, for his size and his weight. But everything else is fantastic, right? Like, I mean, he won the Heisman as a junior, right? He did really well as a senior. His processing, his mentals, whatever you want to call it, like coming out of the combine from I've heard at his pro days, like nothing but glowing reports, right? So it's like, it sounds to me, obviously he's not the athlete Kyler was, right? But it sounds to me like he's Kyler, but with a good head on his shoulders, right? And Kyler, for some reason, is still like loved by fantasy people. So I don't know. I was talking with Chad. I just trust Young. I've seen it at an elite level. And we talked about if he was, 6'4", 215, I think Bryce Young would be considered among the Lucks, the Lawrences of,
but he's not
number 1 overall picks.
But he's not, and it's very rare that we see someone his size succeed at an elite level in the NFL. So
it's very rare we've seen an Ohio State quarterback succeed at an elite level.
Well, this is what bothers me about people saying that. People are saying like it's rare that we see a quarterback his height succeed in the NFL. It's rare we see a quarterback his height with the traits that he has even get a chance in the NFL. Like you can't say that something is rare when the opportunity for it not to be rare is not there.
The opportunity is not there because they don't deserve
but
the
Jesse, 10 years ago, people would have said that a 6-foot quarterback can't play in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I mean it's all about the advancement of the game and whether or not
Brees was playing 10 years ago.
So here's my question.
But he was like the big outlier, right? Like he was.
My only argument. I'm not saying that Bryce Young isn't a great prospect. He is. I have him neck and neck with Stroud as and AR as like the top 3 guys. But my argument is that yes, he is an outlier. Even though he's a great prospect, he's an outlier, and there's definitely a chance for him to fail because of it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying like I think the statement that that the assumption that every quarterback that is of his size has failed. There hasn't really been that many of them with his skill set.
Not everyone has, and there haven't been a lot.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he will succeed. I'm just saying that we haven't seen a lot of Bryce Youngs. Like we haven't seen them.
Yeah,
so there's not a lot of data out there saying that he's going to fail.
Sure, his archetype is rare. I see that.
So, do we have anyone close to Bryce Young?
No, not really.
Been drafted in the first round ever?
No,
I don't know anybody that's similar to. So to be like, well, he's an outlier. Well, yeah, but he's going to be the first one to be even close to well considered compared to everybody else who had similar stature to him. We're talking about 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, not top 5 picks.
So if you break down the data, right?
It's all baked in to him to the term outlier. It's all baked in.
If you break down the data, right, where the main concern for players of Bryce Young's height is that their completion percentage or their ability to see over the offensive line for the middle of the field, especially in those short to intermediate routes, is not really there, right? Like they're going to have a lower chances of making these throws because they just can't simply see. But Bryce Young's done better in that area of the field than every other prospect in this draft.
Sorry,
right?
where do the defensive linemen and offensive linemen come from that are first round picks?
Well,
he's seeing over them.
Yeah, so and that's what I'm saying. So he's done better than every other quarterback in this class in that specific area, which is the main area for concern. The only real area of concern that's actually like a fact is the durability thing, which hasn't been a problem so far. But if he gets into the NFL, takes some big hits, maybe his body can't hold up. That's the only issue that I see could be arising from this. But as far as him not being able to see over the offensive line or him not being able to find throwing lanes, it's just not a real thing because it would have shown its head by now.
I'm not gonna lie. If he has a bottom, 5, bottom 10 offensive line, it's probably not going to start real well for him as far as being able to stay on the field and succeed. But I think he does have fantastic pocket awareness to keep himself out of situations. But no quarterback likes to get hit, and a lot of quarterbacks that get hit get hurt if it's bad enough, right?
So the durability is a real concern because quarterbacks do get hit, and if he can't take a hit, it could lead to a shortened career.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, he's been like I said, he's been playing in the SEC with Jalen Carter, right? He's got these big guys.
Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't.
That's the case for any quarterback, though.
Absolutely,
right?
But there's more of a chance than when a guy's smaller. I mean, look at Tua. Tua's a big guy. Absolutely, and on any play, he can be out of the NFL.
Yeah,
I hear you. So, yeah, I mean, he's an elite prospect, and it's not going to. I won't hesitate to take him at the top. I personally have AR and Stroud above him. I think Stroud's got everything that I look for in an NFL quarterback. I don't give a shit what college he went to. He faced major competition, stood up to that competition. Looked great in the combine. The arm, the confidence. There are no flags for Stroud for me.
Oh, there are some flags
For me.
Okay. He wasn't.
Go for it.
He wasn't even close to as good a quarterback over his college career as Bryce Young. Like, not even close.
Okay.
A lot of what's going on with the projection of CJ Stroud is due to the Georgia game, because that's when he showed a lot of the stuff that people hadn't been seeing his entire college career, especially with his mobility. Because, I mean, we all know he's an athlete, but he just hadn't shown previously, not even anywhere close to consistently, that he could move around the pocket, manipulate the defensive line and his offensive line, and find throwing lanes and take off and run when he needs to. He just hasn't been doing that. Whether he was told not to, which I find hard to believe, or he just didn't feel like he needed to do it until Georgia, which I also find harder to believe, because he wasn't excelling the way he probably could have been.
Ohio State quarterbacks are told to do a lot of weird things. So,
yeah, I mean,
there's a narrative that they need to be deprogrammed and retrained once they get to the NFL.
I don't think they showed up. They showed up against Georgia, and they were like, you know what, forget everything, just go do your own thing now.
Yeah.
I think he was just everything kind of fell into place in that Georgia game. If his NFL career takes off and it's kind of like he was in that Georgia game, then I mean, yeah, that's going to be great. But
I just think whoever drafts him in the top 2 is going to be smart enough to utilize him, utilize his strengths. And if he goes to Frank Reich, I'm really excited about that. I think he knows how to use a quarterback, and I will absolutely develop him. If he goes number 2 to Houston, I'm fairly confident that they'll develop him in Shanahan's system, and it'll be real successful there. I really like him in a Shanahan system. So either way, I really like it for him. Do I think that he's just like this perfect polished prospect? No, that's not what I meant by no red flags. What I meant is, as far as drafting him high in a rookie draft, 102, I have no problem with that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So only one more guy to talk about, and that is the freak, AR. So Chad and I had some fun talking about who was the most athletic quarterback that ever tested, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, it's pretty obvious that this guy's an absolute freak at the position. Once he gets on the field and starts running the ball, we may not have seen anything like it yet, right? Every time we see a new one of these rushing quarterbacks, it's amazing to us. So he's going to do it in his own way. He's got a cannon for an arm, really inconsistent and inaccurate, has a lot of development to go. Might be the most raw out of all of these rushing first quarterbacks, I guess we can call them, but might also have the best rushing ability. So real extreme type of prospect. For me, the ceiling just is so enticing that I have him as the second quarterback. I have Stroud first for the reasons I stated. And then just the ceiling to me is just so amazing. I mean, there's nothing I can't really knock Bryce Young for anything. It's just when I got into a draft, I've done this already. I couldn't see myself taking Bryce Young over AR still.
See, I'm not gonna lie, for AR, to see him go to Seattle at 5 or Detroit at 6 would make me really, really excited. And then if Bryce somehow dropped to 7, but I don't think that's going to happen to the Raiders, then I'd maybe consider him ahead of Bryce Young there. But he's just someone that I would love to see in either Seattle or Detroit. I think that's a perfect situation where you've got the competent quarterback there. Gino, is re-signed, but it's essentially a 1-year deal. I think he's I think he's even said publicly he's totally fine with they draft someone that he can, help tutor and things like that. I mean,
Right on.
it takes quite a
What about
pretty awesome thing to say.
What about the Colts with Steichen? What do you guys think about that as a landing spot for AR or any of these guys really?
I just don't know if I want him starting right away.
No, I don't want him starting right away either.
So Minshew's going to start?
I think they signed Minshew to start some games.
I mean, how many games does he lose before the fans start chanting for AR to come out?
Right.
I just feel like in a Seattle, in a Detroit, right? Like we know they were playoff teams with what they had. I think they've both kind of improved in the free agency period, so probably improve in the draft because they all have extra capital. So
sure,
I don't know. We'll see.
Chad, what's your take?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Richardson. I want to see, of course, where his landing spot is, like all of us. But he's a guy that, I mean, you guys know I've been pushing for, pre-combine and saying how impressive he was going to be, and of course he was. And now everybody's on the train, and I seem to be,
yeah, you have him
maybe jumped off a little bit.
Lowest. Yeah,
defend your fourth ranking after being on his bandwagon.
I just think it's flipped a little bit too much. The high upside is definitely there, but there's a really low floor to this guy, and everybody just seems to have forgotten that. Like there is a really, really low floor to this guy. Like and I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback in that he can't, bad at the position as in like he can't make reads and stuff like that. I think that's simply untrue. I've heard some people, talk about that, but he can definitely read offenses and make reads and make decisions. He just hasn't really put a game together, or put his game together. And there's a chance he gets to the NFL where it's going to be more difficult to do that, and he doesn't do it. That's a real possibility. And I mean, I think it's a coin flip with this guy. And so, yeah, the upside is there. And I think maybe people are giving a little bit too much credit to, the athleticism and saying that, it's going to propel him to be this, top 5 fantasy quarterback. And no matter what, there's just a super high floor. I don't see it that way. I think he's definitely a guy that could find himself out of a job in 3-4 years time if he doesn't figure things out. So,
but if you're savvy, there are going to be windows within that time that you can sell him for a big profit.
Yes. And of course, I'm a firm believer in that. And that's why I'm willing to take risk at these quarterbacks.
Same.
And so that's why I was so high on Richardson when he was 106, 107, 108, 109 in that area. But you can't go take him at 102 and then say, oh, well, I'm going to be savvy and flip my pick. You're still giving up the 102 at the end of the day. If he was, I'm more willing to make that kind of sacrifice and saying, okay, that's why I'm always a big proponent of taking the last available quarterback, because I know I can get rid of that quarterback and get almost the same exact pick. Right.
Right on. Yeah, I've done it with Pickett a couple times this year.
Yeah.
I got the same pick that I took him with and a second.
Yeah. So it's much harder to do that with a guy when he's going 101, 102. So
but, see, for me, it's more of sort of an escape clause where I'm taking this guy with huge high upside, but if I start to get spooked a little bit, then I start looking for the window, right? Otherwise, maybe I just ride it out and I get the huge payoff that I need from what I don't say he's 102. I say 103, 104.
Yeah, and I said 101 like there's not a certain running back in this class. So ignore that. But yeah, 102, 103 is what I meant.
Well, 103, 104 really, I think is.
Yeah. But I think there's a chance people take him 102 if he gets the draft capital.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to be doing it.
103, 104, I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, if he hits 104, I'm definitely going to have a few shares, but
there's nothing past me at 104
Yeah. So
none of those top 3 quarterbacks are getting past me.
Yeah, it's going to be tough between him and Stroud for me. It's going to be tough deciding who to pick if he makes it to 103.
Levis is a tier down for me. he's more like 107, 108.
Yeah, I would take him all day there if I can get him. Yeah, and I'm me, like I don't force my opinion on rookie drafts. If everybody thinks he's 108 or 109, then if people think he's 109, he's 108 for me, because I think he's 104. So yeah, then I'll take him to pick before everybody else if I can. But yeah.
All right. Anything else on quarterbacks, guys?
I do have one more thing I want to talk about, which is people are forgetting that Stroud and Bryce Young are both really good athletes. Like, they have rushing upside. So I think it's getting a little bit lost in this class because, Levis is so big. And, in the same vein, again, as Josh Allen with his size and rushing ability and athleticism, where he's going to be able to do a lot of those kind of things and just impose his strength on defenses. And then hopefully, and then Richardson, right? Like, just this uber athletic profile where, maybe the most athletic quarterback of all time. And so then a little lost in the sauce here is that CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are both really good athletes, like really, really good athletes with rushing upside as well. So it's not like we're talking about Mac Jones here. Like, I think people are getting, a little confused on that,
right,
who maybe didn't watch them in college. But, you look at the way Bryce Young and CJ Stroud mostly in that Georgia game, but they're able to use their athleticism to really escape pressure and to also, really make these, 20, 30-yard runs. They can do that stuff. They have this rushing upside. So don't forget that, don't pick Richardson because you think that these other guys don't have the rushing upside to be, that QB1 profile, because they definitely do.
Right on. All right, we go into wide receiver or running back next?
It's up to you guys.
Let's do running back. We're going to skip Bijan, right? We all have him number one?
Yep.
Are we going? Yeah, let's go top to bottom. Does everybody have Gibbs as their number two?
Yes, I do.
Chad?
I have him. Yes.
Okay. So, Mike, who do you have as your third? Because I think Chad and I might have the same player as our third.
Charbonnet. But it's
all right. That's chalk.
Yeah.
Right now, I think most places you look have Charbonnet as their third. I do not. I actually have him as my one. I have him as my fifth, but I really like him. I have him in a high tier.
You have who is the fifth?
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet is your fifth.
Yeah.
So who do you have as your third?
I have Tucker as my third. What about you, Chad?
So I have Tucker as my fourth, but if he gets draft capital, he'll be my second. So
yeah, he's got potential to move up to my second as well.
Yeah, he's
I just say fourth now because so far, with the way people have been conversating about him, these NFL insiders and stuff who talk to teams and everything, they haven't really been talking much about him, which makes me think he might not get the draft capital. But it only takes one team, and if he does, I believe in the player. So
yeah, there's some buzz I've heard. Brian and I, as a warm up for this show, because you guys know Dynasty Fever is a warm up for this show. Brian and I had a pretty spirited debate about this. He's going by the echo chamber and these quote unquote locked in people that are, talking to the scouts and have all of the info. And I kind of don't give a flying shit about that because I don't think any of these people are being honest with anyone right now. They're not telling reporters who they're going to draft. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They may give a list of 10 players they like. You know what I mean? So I don't think that that buzz is real personally. So I'm going off of my evaluation, and my evaluation, I have him as second or third best running back in this class. One of the few guys that actually has a 3-down profile. Gibbs really doesn't. He needs to be like a 1B. but Tucker could definitely. I think he could handle a load. I think he could handle it.
That's what she said.
Chad, I could hear you. You said it laughing before my goose said it. That's awesome.
I'm a juvenile.
Have you seen those like little YouTube clips where it's like just clips of announcers during football games? Like, wow, he's really good at sucking in the balls. And it's like, wow, I just took it right to the face. That's just what you sounded like.
Uh-oh. Wow, Jesus.
That would terrify me if that woke me
Oh.
up.
That's our game alarm. That's our game alarm.
Elizabeth, I'm coming. I'm coming to see you, Elizabeth. It's me having a heart attack. Does anybody get that reference in this show?
No, I assume it was something like 20 years before I was born.
Yeah, it's probably some
Probably.
black and white movie. Black and white
You know
movie.
what? You youngins need to learn your history. That is Red Fox. There is nothing better than Red Fox. That man was the dirtiest, most hilarious person on the planet.
I mean,
All right,
George
so-
Carlin was pretty dirty and hilarious. Anyways, go ahead, Chad.
That was Sanford and Son. So, moving on.
Yeah, our game tonight's called Dynasty Draft Time Machine. And I won't be playing it. I think this is the first game in a long time where I'm not really a contestant. So I'm excited. I am very excited, actually. Because, finally I won't have – well, Mike's been winning all the games recently, right?
Yeah,
I think the last two games Mike's won. So, yeah, and my losing streak here.
I have a hosting win. If you're
A hosting win. There's no such thing as a hosting win. Okay, so here's how the game will work. I'm gonna ask a question. It might be strictly about a previous draft class of the last 5 to 6 years, and it'll be dynasty relevant. And yeah, you guys will answer the question.
I have my buzzer right here.
No, there is no buzzer. I will ask one person. If they get it wrong, it goes to the next person. They can either pass or they can steal it.
Is
for
it
double
negative
points.
points if I guess?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no. You know what? Let's not do any negative points because then we'll all be.
Then
skipping
no one will
questions.
guess it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought about that. There was going to be negative points, but we'll skip that. Okay. All right. So first question here. Let's give it over to Jesse. Jesse hasn't played a game in a long time. So
Yeah, man. I went to game, man. How do you words?
Okay. So CJ Stroud right now is ADP 102. Right?
Okay.
For most mock drafts.
Sounds about right.
In 2018, Josh Allen was a player in that class. Right? In Superflex ADP post combine, how many spots lower did Josh Allen go than CJ Stroud?
How many spots lower?
Yes.
I mean, a lot. I think it was like. Do I have to get it right on the net and nail it right? Nail.
Yeah. We'll just say who's closer between the two
nail
of
on
you.
the head. Jesus.
We'll say who's closer between the two of you. We'll just do.
All right, I'm
let
gonna
both of you answer it.
13.
Okay.
We're talking about Superflex fantasy football.
Superflex, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say 9.
Okay. God, both of you were really, really, really close. I'm gonna give a point to both of you. So
Was it
yeah.
11?
So it was 11 spots.
Wow.
Yeah. Josh Allen was going in a range. Josh Allen was going in a range of let's see here. 202 to 204.
Well, I said 203.
Well, yeah.
I should get the point.
No, so you said 13 spots. I said the difference between CJ Stroud and Josh Allen was
13 spots would be 203.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Okay, Jesse gets a point.
Boom! Wow, that is the first time in the history of the show that I've ever won an argument.
with Chad.
He would Chad. That's right.
Well,
Why
you
is
know,
he always
when
the
you
only one
have
arguing?
when you have mathematics on your side, it's kind of hard to argue.
I'm completely.
You can't
oblivious to
debate math.
right now, but yeah.
So, well, I guess you can debate math, but you know, when you know you're wrong. Anyways,
Wow, I'm gonna win a game. Holy shit!
you might win a game. Okay, so who was the quarterback that went before Josh Allen? Josh Allen was QB5. Who was QB4? Mike Casper.
Patrick Mahomes.
No, he wasn't in that draft class. I'll give you another chance because
Oh.
you want me to give you the quarterbacks? I can.
Sure.
So Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson.
It was Lamar, wasn't it?
It was Lamar Jackson.
Jesus, that is so ridiculous. We were so stupid.
Lamar Jackson was QB4. He went in an ADP of 11.
Wow,
Yes.
what a gross class that turned out to be above those guys.
Jesse.
You know, I didn't rookie draft. That was my first. That was when I started Dynasty startups.
Yeah,
So
I
he was
never,
in
I
there.
didn't do
rookie
Dynasty that year.
Yeah, it's fun to look back at these and see how stupid we all are. So, Jesse, who put QB 1, 2, and 3 in order? So that's Rosen, Darnold, and Baker of ADP.
I think Rosen was third. Between Darnold and Baker, that's tough. Baker went first in the NFL draft, but I think people were higher on Darnold for some reason. Oh yeah,
So-
I'm gonna go Darnold, Baker, Rosen.
Okay, so you're wrong. And
Much
yeah,
harder question. than
it
mine.
was a much harder question. It was Baker, Rosen, Darnold.
Okay.
So Baker went was the second player off the board, right?
Mm,
Rosen was the 5th player off the board. Darnold was the 6th player off the board.
wow. That's
Wait,
So-
NFL draft? Or are you talking about?
No, this is ADP.
Oh, that's
Yep.
weird.
Yep, it went Baker, Rosen, Darnold.
Why?
This is all hindsight, guys. That's why I tell you I'm a proponent of the last quarterback. I've always been.
Wow, that is. Golly.
Got a lot of Josh Allen in this class.
Wow.
Um,
I mean, I remember getting Herbert at the 111
Yep.
class.
Got a lot of him in that class too. Yeah. Yeah, he was fun.
yeah, Herbert was that was my first year. I got a lot of Herbert too.
Yeah, it was either for a lot of people that were in that spot, they kind of won no matter what because it was either him or Jefferson that they were picking between
Yeah.
for that spot.
Gosh, that wide receiver class was so good.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of Rager that year too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I bet
because
you
you're an
did.
Eagles fan. So.
Well, yeah, and
It's a trap.
am I allowed to? I mean, it was my first year. Am I allowed to call out the guy that gave me the bad advice?
Oh, Mr. GQ. All right, let's hear it.
No, that's all right. You guys said it. I'm not gonna say it. I don't get myself in trouble.
Still sour about that.
Yeah,
People are allowed to make mistakes.
But I'm not.
I hear you. Cheers. Moving on.
Okay, so Jesse, you're up, right? Or no, you had the really difficult question.
Yeah,
So,
so I should get to go again.
I'm going to give Mike a difficult question too. Okay, so in the 2019 class, give me wide receiver 1 and RB2.
Wide receiver 1 from Fantasy ADP, correct?
Yes, this is all ADP.
From what year?
2019. This is the next year. This is the DK Metcalf year. AJ Brown, TJ Hawkinson, Debo, Kyler.
Hopefully I have the year right, but the RB2 was JT that year.
No, this is not the right year.
Damn it! Oh, that's the 2020 class.
Do you want me to list? Some of the RBs?
No. Okay, sorry. That was the Miles Sanders. Josh
I remember this class.
right?
What's the question? Can I steal?
No, it was I'm going to say Miles Sanders and N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, that's right. Which one went first in the class? ADP.
Nikhil Harry was the consensus 101. Yeah.
101. 101. How bad is that, guys?
So bad.
How many people quit their leagues after that pick?
I mean, remember how I remember
Wait.
I was in the movie theater when the Patriots picked Nikhil Harry in the first round, and everybody was so excited.
What about
Brady
Josh
was getting
Jacobs?
the wide receiver? Josh Jacobs was the RB1.
I thought you said Miles Sanders.
Yeah, RB2. I said wide receiver 1 and RB2. Yeah, I tried to make it more difficult for him.
Gotcha. All right, good job. Good job, Mike.
But that was a crappy class, so there wasn't a whole lot of good. So
Okay, so we have one more question, and then we'll get back to our rankings.
All right, this is the break the tie.
Okay, so Jesse.
So only Jesse gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones
Sucks.
went in that class, 2019 class, right?
Mm.
Give me what pick he went ADP. I'll let it be between within 2 picks. So either 2 picks higher, 2 picks lower. You'll get the point.
The hate was strong.
Why don't we both get to pick again, and whoever's closest gets the point?
Okay, let's do it. So for the win, guys. Jesse, you go first.
All right, so I'm going to say 202.
Remember, this is the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft.
110. 110 is my answer.
Mike, what do you say?
Damn, I was going to say the 109.
Oh, you're going to Price is Right me?
Well, no, if it was over, you win it.
109, is that what you're going with?
Yeah, that's what I thought of before.
Daniel Jones went 205. ADP.
Woo, I win. Nice.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Did I actually win a game?
Jesse won a game. I think that's the first in WarGames history.
WarGames history.
It's the first game I won without cheating or making up rules as I go along. I don't know if you remember this, but I was a guest on Dynasty Game Night, where they do similar things as us, Rocky and all those guys. And I didn't win any games on that either. Just to let you know, I did not do us well.
That's awesome. I'm proud of you, Jesse. That's a good win.
Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it. Thanks for tailoring the game to me. Usually it's like more like you try to skew it away from me, but
no, you only think that because you suck at the game. I never try to skew a game away from anybody.
All right, let's go back to running backs. So I think Chad and I agree that Tucker has a 3-down set. I think we all agree that Gibbs isn't really built to be a 3-down back, right? He's a little small for that. So he's more like the 1B that you're hoping for the big plays.
I mean, there just aren't too many places that have a 3-down.
Yeah,
they actually use them like that anymore, really. Right?
Yeah,
So.
But I mean, Bijan's going to be that, and I think Tucker has a chance. And I think there's one more guy in this class that has a chance to do that, and that's my RB4, and that would be Tank Bigsby.
I knew you were going to say Tank
Yes.
Bigsby.
I think he has a chance.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a slam dunk, awesome prospect. He's a good prospect all around. Good prospect. He's probably the best pass blocker in the class. Good pass catcher. So he's proven that he's useful on 3rd down. And he's just a really solid between the tackles runner. Can run some outside zone, even though it's not the best thing he does. And I just think he's a good, honest power back that does other solid things that'll keep him on the field. So I think he's pretty much a lock as a day 2 pick. You know, it seems like just a all-day 3rd round pick in the NFL draft. And the reason I have him above Charbonnet is because I think Charbonnet might get a little bit pigeonholed as an early down back because he doesn't, even though he's a good pass catcher, an excellent pass catcher and route runner, he doesn't exactly have the explosion that some teams might need on 3rd and long. Thoughts on Tank Bigsby?
Wow, so you have him in front of Charbonnet?
Yes, one spot in front of Charbonnet, but in the same tier.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So
it makes sense because Tank Bigsby is one of those guys that reminds me a lot of, a player you really like in LaShawn McCoy. So I can see that. I really, yeah.
Tank reminds you of Shady, huh?
Yeah, just
without
his
elite lateral quickness.
His one cut's pretty great.
It is, but Shady had a special thing. But okay. Yeah, I mean, McCoy, Shady was definitely a big back and could take it to you. He was definitely faster than Tank too.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what he does in the NFL. That Auburn offense was just so bad. So it's tough to really project, how good he's going to be. But
that's a problem.
I don't know. I think day two is probably where I would place my money if I was a betting man. But I wouldn't say he's a lock for me. But I've also been playing Dynasty so long that I just know with these running backs, if you're not one of these guys that people are projecting first round, you're not a lock for anything. Yeah. You could find yourself day 3 and everybody's like, NFL teams are so stupid. What are they doing? Don't they know? So it happens every year.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just one of those things. I mean, I like Tank Bigsby. I really want to see where he lands. But I do project day 2 just as you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this middle group of running backs is really kind of closer for me, at least, anyways, as far as I've got Bigsby and A-Chain kind of right behind Charbonnet, who's right behind Tucker. So, yeah.
I have A-Chain quite a bit lower.
I know. Everybody does.
Yeah, that's good. No, not everybody. I mean,
I don't know anybody.
Mike teaches at A&M, so he's a bit biased.
No, that's a home. Yeah. But not everybody. I've seen plenty of people that have A-Chain as their 3rd or 4th running back in the class.
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
There are some people.
I mean, his explosion is undeniable. The guy is electric.
Yeah,
but just what kind of role he's going to have in the NFL? I'm highly.
I'm going to start a petition. I'm going to start a petition to merge to kind of make a fusion of Deuce Vaughn and A-Chain, and maybe then they'll fit the prototype of height weight together. But maybe A-Chain could stand on Deuce Vaughn's shoulders.
That's what I was going to say. We're
Deuce Vaughn could stand on A-Chain's.
We'll put a trench coat around them. We have to petition the NFL to let running backs play in trench coats.
Yeah.
And then sure.
Yeah, they're both such fun players, man. It's such a shame. It's such a shame. I really hope they do well.
Deuce Vaughn is pretty thick. Both of them have a chance to be really good satellite backs in the NFL, second backs in the NFL. So, if Sproles was a huge outlier because he could do things in between the tackles that guys his size shouldn't, because he could just kind of slip and not get noticed sort of sometimes, and boom, he's out the other side. And plus he was really, really a tough son of a bitch and really thick. Both of these guys have the body type. I don't know. It's weird. You have to see him in the NFL and you have to see what their instincts. If they find a thing that they can do that gets them open, I have a couple backs above them in Zach Evans and Tajay Spears, just because the size and the athletic ability suggests that they'll be able to do more things in the NFL. Zach Evans, while I don't like his running style, and I think he could have been way better, his vision, everybody talks about his vision. It truly is terrible. He has no plan at the second level. It's just lower your head and try to go through him. Whereas someone like, the reason I have Charbonnet above him, even though I think Charbonnet is not the athlete of Zach Evans, he's a much better running back. Charbonnet will just make a vector change, and even though he knows he's going to power through a guy, he won't take him head on. He'll take him off to the side and then power through, and that gets him 10 yards where Evans gets 3. It's just such a difference. It's a subtle difference, but such a huge difference in the way they play. I have Zach Evans sort of, and Tajay Spears are my next two in another tier, but just for different reasons. Tajay Spears, awesome, explosive, fast, but around 200 pounds, might not be able to, contribute 20 touches a game.
Just for fun, do you guys have any guys who are out of that, top 5 for you, where you're just super excited about, maybe if they get good draft capital, end of day 2, beginning of day 3, you're just excited.
Roshan Johnson, I think Roshan Johnson, if he got that draft capital, would be interesting. He didn't do as well at the combine as I would have liked, but if teams really like him, he's someone I'll definitely be interested in.
For me, it would be Izzy Abadakaka.
For that. Yeah, him too.
If for some reason he's a really fun, twitchy player that's a complete projection in the NFL, and if for some reason he got draft capital, or if for just some reason he got he won a job in a training camp, or somebody goes down early in the year and he gets a chance, I think he'd just be really a lot of fun. I would love to see him succeed.
Yeah, for that's a pretty good one. I like both of those actually. Mine is Chase Brown, Illinois. Big Ten guy. So
I like
that. Crazy speed. Really, really nice feet. His game with as far as protection is concerned is really good. I think he could be a really good 3-down player, if I'm being honest. So he's a guy that if he gets draft capital, he's going to be a guy I'm targeting pretty heavily and trying to get a decent amount of.
Yeah, at the moment I have him as like a late second rookie pick.
Yeah.
So if he gets draft capital, that could move up. I really like it. I really like him. He's explosive.
Yeah, someone's work who I won't say because I paid for their content, but someone I really like has him as their RB5.
Nice.
Ooh, that's really spicy.
Yeah, he's one I'm really excited about. I mean, if he gets day 2 capital, if he ends up in the 3rd round, he might be a guy that for me is like, I'm just another guy I'm just trying to take one spot ahead of everybody else. I like him that much. So
yeah, right on. Anybody that's dropped for you guys during the process?
Running backs?
Yeah, like in this later tier.
I mean, I would just say Sean Tucker's probably one that dropped for me a little bit.
Any of the later running backs?
Oh, the later guys. Not really. For me, it's all just because I in my head I don't really project them until I know the draft capital, because it's all just a gigantic, toss around for me. Like it's just like everybody's scattered puzzle pieces on the floor, and the picture doesn't really make sense. So, just really waiting to see where the draft capital ends up before I start getting excited about these mid-tier guys and start placing them where I think they're going to go in my head. So for me, I guess that was a long answer for just saying no.
Yeah.
Mike, how about you?
No one in particular. Yeah.
For me, it's Kendre Miller. I went into his tape thinking I was going to really like him, thinking he was like a good power back with speed, and not really. He's smaller than I thought, and really just doesn't play with power. I thought I was going to see him knocking guys around, and he doesn't. He sort of looks to avoid it. I don't know. Just didn't like his game. So Kendre Miller's fallen for me.
Nice.
Just a guy I don't believe in. All right. Shall we move on to wide receiver?
Yeah, let's do a few wide receivers.
All right, cool. Anybody have Addison over JSN?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
No.
You have no. Okay, so we're all consensus JSN number 1.
Yep.
Yes.
Size, twitchiness, hands. Guy's going to be open all day. I don't care where he plays. Slot only, up my ass only. I don't care. Like, the skill set suggests that he's going to be open all day. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jordan Addison. Any problems drafting him with the 107 or 108?
I've got 2 guys. So This one's tough for me because I got two guys that are kind of in that same Levis Richardson kind of vein for me, where they're just lockstep with each other, and the other guy for me is Flowers.
Okay.
So obviously, I'm gonna let everybody else decide where I pick him. So just another guy I'm picking one pick ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, I have Addison clearly ahead of Zay Flowers, but I really like Zay Flowers. So those are my 3 first-round worthy wide receivers, in my opinion. JSN, Addison, and Flowers. After that, it gets a little muddled. I know other people have Quentin Johnston in the first round of rookie drafts. He's going to have to get really high NFL draft for me to do that. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. He's perplexing to me. It's tough because the production's not there. So,
right.
He's just all projection, all traits, and those guys can be a little bit scary. But we've also seen those guys work out sometimes, and it be for the better. As far as those really really high end traits, I think it's just really going to depend on what kind of offense he sees him or he gets to, and what his role is going to be. Because he is a scary player with the ball in his hands. So if he gets a lot of receptions and they let him do a lot of the work after the catch, I think he's going to be a very good player. So yeah, it just depends for me.
Yeah, he has to go to the right offense. I'm pretty afraid of him being a bust. I mean, yeah, he's got huge traits, and I just think that the percentage is pretty low of him being like this huge breakout. I don't know. It seems more of a second round risk to me than a first in a rookie draft. Like I said, if he gets high draft capital, if he goes in the top 10 or 15 of the NFL draft, then, and if it's to a coach that I believe in, and, he's not blocked by 2 other players. I don't know. What if he went to the Vikings? What do you think about that?
I would really like that because I think I think Jefferson would open a lot of space for him. I think Cousins really has a good grasp of that offense and where to put the ball. Obviously, Thielen's gone now, so I think that would make a lot of sense. Actually, I really like that.
Right on. Cool. All right, so I'm sorry we're jumping around a little bit. Let's go back to Addison. Is he a locked-in first-round NFL wide receiver?
Yeah, for me he is. What do you mean, like first round is in NFL draft or?
Yeah, NFL and rookie draft.
Yeah, I think for me it's both. I think he's definitely going to be in the first round of the NFL draft. I haven't seen really anybody talk about him falling out of the first round. I mean, there's always a possibility with guys, falling. We just don't know, what's true and what's not. As far as how much the NFL likes him, because we have seen him fall into kind of the early 20s in some mock drafts, and some people talk about that range, which I can understand, but with the testing and everything. But yeah, I mean, I just think he's a really good football player, so I think he's going to end up going in the first round.
Yeah, I think Flowers is going to end up going in the first round as well. Which out of those 2, as a Giants fan, which of those 2 players would you rather have?
That one's tough because I think the fit may be a little bit better for Addison because we have a lot of players that do a lot of the things that Zay Flowers is really skilled at. But I'm just a really big fan of Zay Flowers as a football player and as a personality and everything. So I'm going to go with Zay Flowers. I'd be more excited about Zay Flowers in that offense.
Mike, can you think of any other free agent wide receivers that play the slot that the Giants could sign?
Currently available?
Yeah.
No, they've signed all of them.
Is Wayne Trebet still available?
Yeah, right. Jeez. I don't even know the wide receivers that are available besides like OBJ at this point.
So,
yeah, everybody keeps talking about that. I mean, I understand it though. I understand it. The Giants wide receiver core just hasn't stayed healthy in the last 5 years. So, They want a lot of the guys that can stay on the field and do the same things that other guys ahead of them can do. So when Sterling Shepard eventually gets hurt week 3, week 4, somebody steps in and takes his place. And then when they get hurt week 8, then somebody else steps in and takes his place. So it's a good system they have worked out there. It's about time because literally we were down to wide receiver 5, 6, and 7 this year at one point.
Well, yeah, you signed Hodgins off the.
Hodgins was our wide receiver 1 at one point.
And you signed him off the Bills practice squad midseason.
Yeah. So make of that what you will. And then the season before, right? Saquon was injured. Sterling Shepard was injured again. And Kenny Golladay was injured. And Kadarius Toney was injured. So we were down to our 5th receiver. Yeah, 5, 6, 7 again.
Good time.
Yeah.
Right,
so it makes sense. So people are so confused about it, but it makes a lot of sense to me as a Giants fan.
All right, Mike, who are your top 3 wide receivers?
My top 3 is JSN. I mean, it's not really sexy. JSN, Addison, then Johnston.
Okay, you like Quentin Johnston?
Yeah, I have Flowers like kind of neck and neck with Johnson, like same tier for me. But
right. While you used the restroom, we spent that time dogging Quentin Johnston.
Sorry, I didn't use the restroom. I got bit by a spider and it was getting very itchy.
Wait,
I got bit this weekend. Yeah, not just now. So I've been dealing with the repercussions.
A poisonous spider?
I mean, I don't know. My leg flares up, but it's nothing serious.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
serious.
fine. If the skin starts deteriorating, and disintegrating, then go to the hospital, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, the left side of your face is looking a little droopy.
It's just because I'm sleepy, Jesse. It's Daddy's bedtime.
I'm just looking out for you, buddy.
No, Quentin Johnston. I mean, like I said, I like him. I don't know. I think there's a little bit more danger with the lack of production and everything, but yeah.
All right, so Mike, who's your 4th?
Flowers,
and then
yeah.
All right, and then 5th.
5th, probably between Downs and Hyatt.
Hyatt, huh?
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Chad?
I like Rashee Rice.
Yeah, that one's tough for me. I think it's Cedric Tillman.
Wow. Wow, the high man on Tillman. A couple of Tennessee guys. Woo! All right.
But I do really like Rashee Rice. And Josh Downs is also somewhere around there for me. It's going to depend with capital with these guys in their landing spot as well. So
yeah. Rashee Rice and Tillman are 2 guys I like as well, but after Quentin Johnston, who I have let's see, 1, 2. I have Quentin Johnston as my 6th. So Rashee Rice and Tillman are 7 and 8 for me. They're like 2nd round guys. Rice
is so frustrating for me. I mean, you guys know Rice is a guy that I've been super excited about for months and months and months, and especially about the prospect of getting him like late in the 2nd, early 3rd. And now everybody just loves him all of a sudden, like as of like 2 weeks ago. I don't understand it.
Oh, really? Dang it.
Yeah, like everybody keeps moving him further and further up. I'm like, what is going on here? It's just killing all my my value picks.
Yeah.
How many wide receivers do you think actually go in the 1st round of the NFL draft?
3, maybe 3.
4 for me.
4, maybe 4. Yeah. So my 4th wide receiver is actually someone that hasn't even brought up yet, is Marvin Mims. But I have him neck and neck with Downs. Mims and Downs.
You have Mims 4th over Quentin Johnston?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I guess, caveat to every single player we talk about here. Draft capital dependent, landing spot dependent. I mean, with wide receivers, I've said this before. I don't really care about landing spot as long as the capital is there. It's so easy to misjudge a wide receiver landing spot. Things change in the NFL on a minute-to-minute basis as far as who the quarterback is and who the other wide receivers are that are actually playing that week. And we all thought. I bring this up all the time. We all thought the Titans were a terrible landing spot for A.J. Brown.
I mean, it kind of turned out to be a terrible landing spot for A.J. Brown.
But it didn't matter. He still balled out, and he's still AJ.
I mean, did he though?
I mean, he was still like considered a top 5 dynasty wide receiver. Whether he put up,
Yeah, but that was mostly on projection, right?
yes, mostly on projection. You're right. It wasn't until he went to a real NFL offense that he really balled out.
Yeah, so his finishes were 21, 12, 32, and then finally 6 this year.
6 this year.
So
Yeah, but I mean, he missed a lot of games in that time as well. So on a points per game basis, he's probably higher.
yeah, I mean, but I mean, still, like, 2019 with 16 games, finished 21, which is good for rookie. I mean, okay for rookie. And then 2021, 13 games, so he missed 4 games and finished wide receiver 32. Still not great. I mean, 105 targets in that time is okay, pretty good.
Missed 4 games.
But yeah, I mean, it's just
my point is, it's hard to judge. You know? Guys aren't necessarily going to lose value just because you think that they went to a bad landing spot. So
I'm with you.
My point is, for wide receivers, it's more the capital. Capital says a lot for me as far as how the team plans to feature them. So Mims and Downs, I really like what I saw out of Mims. Probably the best hands in the entire draft class. I don't think he dropped the ball at all from anything I watched of him. I don't think I've ever seen that guy drop a ball. And then the testing was elite, nearly elite. He's sub 4.4. So I really like the tape on Downs too. Really like Josh Downs, although there's I don't like to judge guys on what college they went to. But doesn't it seem like everybody that comes out of North Carolina these days just disappoints?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
except for Javonte.
I went to Duke.
The only one.
I went to Duke, so a little bit biased. So, yes, everybody that comes from that university, everybody that's ever attended that university is a disappointment.
Michael Jordan, all of them.
Yeah, all of them. Never wore Jordan in my life. I'm just kidding. Love Jordans, unfortunately.
I've actually never owned Jordans. Is that weird?
No, I mean, not for everybody, right? I just,
My last pair of Jordans was 7th grade, 1987. I wear different styles. It's like I like Pumas.
Well, I mostly wear
low top Adidas.
Johnson and Murphy, like loafers and dress shoes every day. But when I'm casual, then I wear a lot of Jordans. So
sorry, I digress.
A lot of Jordans. All right, so
Jesse, you're pretty old, so I want to ask you, what was your
Thanks, Nick.
I'm messing with you. What was your first pair of Jordans?
1986, actually.
Oh, do you remember which one they were?
They were the red and black ones.
Jordan ones, probably. Yeah.
And then the next year I got the red, white, and black ones. And then I never got Jordans after that. They changed the style after that year.
Yeah, they changed them at like almost, a lot of years. They just kept releasing different ones.
But they were originally like, the old school high top basketball sneaker.
If you would have kept those like original Jordan ones in the box, or like, just kept them in decent condition.
I wouldn't wear them to school immediately. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, if you were one of those weirdos that did
I think I wore them to bed that night. Are you kidding me?
No, I was the same way. I think I slept with mine. So mine was Jordan 7s were my first ones, and I think I slept with them too. So.
I mean, could you imagine, like, hey, honey, here's your new shoes. Hey, Mom, I'm going to keep these in the box.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're going to put those on your feet, and you're going to go to school.
Yeah. Oh, would slap the shit out of me. You know how much I just pay for those things?
It's like my mom giving away my brother's original Star Wars toys. Oh, he's not playing with them anymore. Gave them to someone else for free. I didn't even get to play with them. So
one of my best friends growing up, he saved some like Pokemon cards or whatever from when I was a kid. He saved them like still like in the original packaging and stuff like that, and he sold them like a couple of years ago, or during the pandemic sometime for a shit ton of money, like a shit ton of money. I was like, man, mine had stains on them and shit. And I probably washed them a few times. Like, yeah, there's nothing left.
Yeah, I sold
All
my
right.
diapers for my first son. There's your old man minute with Chad, Jesse, and Mike.
Mike, you love Jalen Hyatt. I think he's a one-trick pony. A lot of people like him and think he can do more than run-go routes and stop routes. Chad, what do you think he's going to do in the NFL?
I don't know. The offense was just so weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess just because he wasn't asked to do something doesn't mean he can't.
yeah. I mean, that's always the argument, right? Is,
Yeah.
not whether somebody can do it, but whether somebody was, or can't do it, but whether they just weren't asked to do it.
But it's a projection, like a lot of these guys are. So I really can't. I really can't take him outside of the late second at this point, unless somebody in the NFL just loves him and he goes in the first or high second. Change my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see what kind of capital he gets. There's been a lot of, talk about him getting potentially first round capital, or at least there was earlier in the month. Or not earlier in the month, but earlier in the process, especially before the combine or like leading up to the combine. That's died down a little bit from what I've seen. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether he goes day 2 or if he does sneak into the back end of day 1.
What about Boutte? I mean, for me, this is the player in the entire draft that is most draft capital dependent. For me, like this is the player I want to see what the NFL thinks most.
Yeah, like I have him with Rashee Rice kind of right now, but if Rashee goes in like the 3rd or 4th and Boutte goes in the 2nd or something like that, then probably take Boutte.
Yeah, if Boutte goes in the 2nd, then I guess I'll change my mind a little bit on him. Chad, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's a really interesting player with a really interesting name. I may take him in a couple places if he ends up going in that middle to end of the 2nd, early 3rd, in the rookie drafts and dynasty rookie drafts. But he's not a guy I'm really like seeking. If he falls to me somewhere, then that's cool. I mean, he has that kind of speed size combination going on, and has a good amount of burst, and he's a pretty athletic guy. So with the right landing spot, I mean, he's not a guy I'm avoiding at all, but he's just not a guy I'm very excited about. I know there's some people that are just really, really excited about him and think he's going to be, getting that day 2 capital, early day 2 capital, and is going to end up in the, early 2nd round of rookie drafts. I'm not convinced by that yet, but yeah, I mean, we all know from our game, like 30 minutes ago, we know absolutely nothing about where these guys are going to end up going. So
right,
yeah.
All right, so we got through 3 positions. We want to do tight ends next week?
Yeah, we can do them.
Yeah, we can throw them in next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to just glance over it because there are a ton of tight ends, so I really want to go through it. So since we're getting a little long, we'll just end it here. I don't know. I guess I just love me a tight end.
Oh, that's what she said.
I'm not doing it, so he's relying on you.
Haven't you seen me yawn like 10 times in the last 60 seconds?
Mike's checked out. Mike's like, it's time to end this thing.
All right, that's what she said. Chad, that's your cue.
My cue for what? What are we doing here?
No, dick.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for watching.
All right, thanks.